Okay, it's time for Macbeth Act 5. I'm going to see if I can get the whole act in, but I also do not want to rush it and leave my students without a thorough take of the act. So, as always, Macbeth, Sparks Notes, and just hop into the study guide, transfer over to No Fear translation, skip down to Act 5. So, the plan is established. Malcolm and Macduff and their army are coming to overthrow Macbeth. This first scene is, of course, Lady Macbeth's reaction to everything that is happening, and how her life and her husband's life has spiraled into this vicious swirl of blood and murder and uncertainty. And as he had prophesied in Act 2, Scene 2, Macbeth doth murder sleep. Macbeth shall sleep no more. Neither he or his wife have gotten a good night's sleep since. And this scene, in fact, shows us that as she sleepwalks. She also talks in her sleep. And here it says she bemoans the murders of Lady Macduff and Banquo. They don't mention that she bemoans the murder of Duncan and how much blood is now on her hands and the guilt that she is suffering from, which is why she can't get a decent night's sleep. One of the things that this particular scene has is the imagery of light. Lady Macbeth is carrying a light with her. She has it always. So she has a candle, obviously. The Elizabethan version of the nightlight was a candle. She who called upon dark to hide her brutal deeds is now afraid of the dark and needs a nightlight. So a gentlewoman, one of Lady Macbeth's maids, has asked a doctor to join her to witness something. One cannot simply accuse someone. I don't know if this is current law or not, but one needs a witness before taking an accusation to the courts, to law. So the lady in waiting, Lady Macbeth's maid, has asked the doctor to join her to be that second witness. Enter a doctor of physic, a medical doctor, and a waiting gentlewoman. I have 2 nights watched with you, but can perceive no truth in your report. When was it she last walked? Since His Majesty went into the field, I have seen her rise from her bed, throw her nightgown upon her, unlock her closet, take forth paper, fold it, write upon it, read it, afterwards seal it, and again return to bed. Yet all this while in a most fast sleep. A great perturbation in nature to receive at once the benefit of sleep and do the effects of watching. I'm not quite sure what happened here. When one scans information, very text into the computer, there is always some bit of every once in a while, there's a screw up. So, a great perturbation in nature to receive at once the benefit of sleep and do the effect of watching. So this is not supposed to be there at all. In this slumbery agitation, besides her walking and other actual performances, what at any time have you heard her say? He wants to know, what has she said? And she won't say, that, sir, which I will not report after her. You may to me, and 'tis most meet you should, neither to you or anyone, having no witness to confirm my speech. I'm not going to tell you or anyone until there is somebody else to confirm what I'm saying. I know what she says, but I'm not telling anyone until there's a second witness, which is why the doctor is with her. Has been with her, watching Lady Macbeth for the last 2 nights. So this is night 3 of watching. Enter Lady Macbeth with a taper. Lo you, here she comes. This is her very guise, and upon my life, fast asleep. Observe her, stand close. How came she by that light? Why, it stood by her. She has light by her continually. 'Tis her command. You see her eyes are open. Aye, but their sense is shut. What is it she does now? Look how she rubs her hands. It is an accustomed action with her to seem thus washing her hands. I have known her to continue in this a quarter of an hour. She's rubbing her hands, she's scrubbing them, she's trying desperately to get the blood off of her hands. She'll spend up to 15 minutes in an attempt to clean the blood, the guilt off of her. Yet here's a spot. Hark, she speaks. I will set down what comes from her to satisfy my remembrance the more strongly. Out, damn spot. Out, I say. 1, 2. Why then 'tis time to do it. Hell is murky. Fie, my lord, fie, a soldier and a feared. What need we fear who knows it, when none can call our power to account? Yet who would have thought the old man to have so much blood in him? So, chastising him for being afraid, telling him that nobody can call them to account. They're above the law. They are the law. They are the king and queen. Nobody can tax them for their crimes. But then here she confesses to Duncan's murder. The old man, Duncan. She doesn't say his name, but we know who she means. Do you mark that? The Thane of Fife had a wife. Where is she now? So here she mentions Duncan's murder and how much blood there was in him. And then she mentions Macduff's wife and her death, which brings her back to her hands. What? Will these hands ne'er be clean? Back to chastising her husband. No more of that, my lord, no more of that. You mar all with this starting, which makes me think of his acting out, his seeing the ghost his seeing Banquo's ghost at the feast. Go to. You have known what you should not. Who does he direct this to? Is he referring to Lady Macbeth? Or is he referring to the gentlewoman who has heard more than she should have? That these confessions are dangerous confessions. She has spoke what she should not. I am sure of that. Heaven knows what she has known. So this line makes, of course, suggests that he is speaking about Lady Macbeth. Here's the smell of blood still. All the perfumes of Arabia will not sweeten this little hand. Oh, oh, oh. Now Macbeth used an example of a hyperbole when he said, will Neptune's oceans wash this hand clean? No, rather, my hands will make the multiple seas, turning them from green to red, that there's so much blood on his hands that if he were to dip his hands into the ocean and all of the seas would turn red from the blood he has spilt, which is an exaggeration of the depth of their guilt. And here Lady Macbeth is saying that there are no perfumes in Arabia, perhaps best known for the beauty of their perfumes. There's nothing that will take away the scent of blood off of her hands, which again augments, or rather, not augments, but rather illustrates the depth of their guilt. Now, of course, when I read this, I was no way I could have given the sense of the agony of her cry. But the doctor tells the actress how she should be responding with, "What a sigh is there, the heart is sorely charged." So again, we see there's no need for stage directions in Shakespeare because the dialogue provides the actors with everything they need. And again, more hints to Lady Macbeth, the actress who plays her, when the gentlewoman says, "I would not have such a heart in my bosom for the whole dignity of the body." Well, 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 pray God it be, sir. This disease is beyond my practice. He's a doctor of physic. If you're sick, he can give you some kind of solution, some kind of, something to drink to help you, something to eat, something that will help cure your disorder. He can maybe have leeches or bleed you or whatever it is. But he is not in a position to cure the mind's disorder. Yet, I have known those which have walked in their sleep who have died holily in their beds. So, I mean, it's not like it's impossible to cure this. There are those who have done this and they die, holy individuals. But holily, this is not for Lady Macbeth. She has committed a crime against God, and she knows it. "Wash your hands, put on your nightgown, look not so pale. I tell you yet again, Banquo's buried, he cannot come out on the grave." This is a reference to Duncan, and then she leaps forward again to Banquo's grave. Even so, 3 murders she has confessed to so far. The 3 key principal murders in their country: Duncan, Banquo, and Lady Macbeth's family. "To bed, to bed. There's knocking at the gate. Come, 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 come. Give me your hand. What's done cannot be undone. To bed, to bed, to bed." So she mentions Duncan. She mentions the Thane of Fife had a wife. She mentions then she mentions Duncan again with "wash your hands, put on your nightgown." And then she mentions Banquo, and then she mentions Duncan. So she repeatedly brings up Duncan, even though she never says straight out Duncan. She does say Banquo, she does say the Thane of Fife had a wife, but she has confessed 3 times to Duncan's murder. The reason that murder gets repeated 3 times is because, of course, it's the most heinous, in that it was a crime against God. Personally, for me, the most heinous crime is having the women and children murdered. But we're looking at a sort of a religious, faith-based concept of what it means to be royalty. Will she go now to bed? Directly. Foul whisperings are abroad. Rumors. I've heard rumors. Unnatural deeds do breed unnatural troubles. Having committed such horrific acts has left her with this psychological issue she is dealing with. Infected minds to their deaf pillows will discharge their secrets. So what she is saying in her sleep, her mind is spilling out all the garbage that she tries to hide during the day. More needs she the divine than the physician. She needs God's forgiveness. There's nothing I can do for her. God, God, forgive us all. Look after her. Remove from her all the means of annoyance and still keep eyes upon her. Now, if we were in the classroom, I would ask you, what does this mean? What is Shakespeare? What is the doctor suggesting? Why is the gentlewoman to watch her continuously? What does it mean by remove from her the means of all annoyance? Anything that she could use to harm herself. This is the foreshadowing of her suicide. You have to watch her all the time. So good night. My mind she has mated and amazed my sight. She's completely, amazed him. He's like shocked at everything he has heard. And when he said earlier, foul whisperings are abroad, rumors are true. I think, but dare not speak. We will not be taking this to the courts of law. It's too dangerous. They would end up dead. Good night, good doctor. All right, now we enter into the last of the falling action, the battle. The setting up of the battle happened in Act 4, where Macduff and Malcolm came to conclude that they were going to get their armies together and march towards Scotland. Now they are, in fact, in this scene, we saw Lennox, and in this scene we have Lennox and all of the other lords who are fleeing Macbeth, who are going to join Malcolm. They're going to meet with him. And here, the English power is near, led on by Malcolm, his uncle Siward, and the good Macduff. Now we know the relationship between old Siward and Malcolm, and why England has readily offered him old Siward and his army. Revenges burn in them. Macduff for his family, Siward for his brother, Malcolm for his father. For their dear causes would to the bleeding and the grim alarm excite the mortified man. Near Birnam Wood. So now we are setting up the third prophecy. Macbeth shall never vanquished be till Birnam Wood do come to Dunsinane. They're going to meet. Near Birnam Wood shall we meet them. They are going to meet Malcolm and his army near Birnam Wood. Who knows if Donalbain be with his brother? For certain, sir, he is not. I've a file of all the gentry. There is Siward's son, and many unrough youths that even now protest their first of manhood. This is just to let us know that Donalbain is still in Ireland. It's one simple little section of the play, but if you watch the Polanski version, the one that I shared with you through Plex, you will see at the very end how Polanski takes this and turns this into a cyclical event, and he has Donalbain going to the witches. And so what we have here is Polanski took one small section of the play, one question, one answer, and used it to provide this cyclical process where evil conquers good, good conquers evil, evil conquers good, good conquers evil. Like the sun rising and the sun setting and the moon rising and the moon setting. What does the tyrant? Doesn't even get his name. Great Dunsinane he strongly fortifies. So we know he's in Dunsinane. Some say he's mad. Others that lesser hate him do call it valiant fury. So either way, he's either mad or he is always pressing his anger. But for certain, he cannot buckle his distempered cause within the belt of rule. Now again, clothes that don't fit him, his frame of mind is such that he can't keep control of his sporadic starts and stops with anger, or he has no control over his kingdom anymore. Now does he feel his secret murder sticking on his hands. Now minutely revolts, upbraided his faith breach. Those he commands move only in command, nothing in love. So those who follow him are doing so more out of fear than anything, or else they're hired mercenaries. Once again, clothes that don't fit him. Now does he feel his title hang about him like a giant's robe upon a dwarfish thief. So the giant's robe, Duncan's robe. The dwarfish thief is Macbeth, who is too small for that position. Who then shall blame his pestered senses to recoil and start when all that is within him does condemn itself from being there? Well, who can blame him for constantly being on edge like he is when, he can't stand himself. Everything that is inside him is in opposition to what a man wants to be. And no doubt Macbeth must realize what a horrible, fiendish man he has become, how evil he is. Well, march we on to give obedience to where 'tis truly old, Malcolm, the true heir of the throne. Meet we the medicine of the sickly weal, Malcolm, who will come back to Scotland and heal it. And with him pour we in our country's purge, each drop of us. We will join Malcolm, we will be a part of his medicine to cure Scotland, or so much as it needs, to dew the sovereign flower and drown the weeds. So we will add moisture to the earth so that Malcolm can become that proper king, and enough moisture to drown or to kill Macbeth, who is the weed. March we, make we our march towards Burnham. Again, that is prophecy 3. Burnham wood do come to Dunsinane. So we are watching the prophecies come to play in opposite order that they were given us. Here, Macbeth shows his starting thoughts, shows his reaction to all of these things that are leaving him. Bring me no more reports. Let them fly all. Till Burnham wood removed to Dunsinane, I cannot taint with fear. What's the boy, Malcolm? Was he not born of women? The spirits that know all mortal consequences have pronounced me thus. Fear not, Macbeth, that no man that's born of woman shall have power upon thee. Then fly, false thanes, and mingle with the English epicure. He doesn't care that they're banning him. What have I got to worry about? Burnham Wood has to come to Dunsinane before I have to fear anything. And what the hell? Who's Malcolm? He was born of woman. No one can kill me. So fly, false thanes, and mingle with the English epicure. So he's making fun of the British. The mind I sway by and the heart I bear shall never sag with doubt nor shake with fear. Yet the irony is he does. Because all of these stops and starts, these angry outbursts of his, they come from his sense of fear and his insecurity. Although he is, ironically, also in a state of absolute certainty in his safety. That's sort of the paradox of his situation. Enter a servant. The devil damn thee black, thou cream-faced loon. Where gots thou goose look? So the actor who plays the servant knows that he is to be in a state of abject fear. His face is pale from terror. When somebody is white with fear, and his fear comes from the fact that he has seen 10,000 British soldiers. There's 10,000 geese villain soldiers, sir. Go prick thy face and overred thy fear, thou lily-livered boy. What soldiers, Patch? Death of thy soul, those lilin cheeks of thine are counselors to fear. What soldiers, whey-face? Making fun of him for having this face of white fear. And he's the whole time asking him, what soldiers? The English force, so please you. Take thy face hence. Can't stand the sight of his face because of the fear that he's expressing. Now, he's calling for his one remaining royal servant. Shakespeare with his very cheesy name symbolism. Remember Fleance, who fled? Well, Here is his one loyal servant, Satan. Satan, I am sick at heart when I behold Satan, I say! This push will cheer me or deceit me now. Recognizing that I win this battle, I will be king, I am secure, or I will be dethroned. I have lived long enough. My way of life has fallen into the sear, the yellow leaf, and that which should accompany old age as honor, love, obedience, troops of friends I must not look to have, but in their stead curses, not loud but deep, mouth, honor, breath, which the poor heart would fain deny and dare not. Satan! He's tired, and he feels old age. Now, we don't see that much time having passed in the play. Historically, this is a good 10-year span that Macbeth had as a king. Shakespeare likes to funnel or tunnel or speed up time. So here we have Macbeth feeling like an old man and feeling like he has none of the rewards that old age should bring, and that everyone who surrounds them, they're all phony, and they do not honor or love him. They are not obedient to him. None of them are his friends. They curse him behind his back, but to his face they pretend to love him. Again, he calls for Satan. What's your gracious pleasure? What news more? All is confirmed, my lord, which was reported. I'll fight till from my bones my flesh be hacked. Give me my armor. So he knows he's going to fight to the death, but he still doesn't. It's like he knows, but he refuses to accept. He demands his armor, and the fact that it's not needed shows that the fear is, in fact, overwhelming him. Ironically, in his state of absolute certainty, he is, at the same time, riddled with fear. I'll put it on, send out more horses, scur the country round, hang those that talk of fear, give me mine armor. How does your patient, doctor? Not so sick, my lord, as she is troubled with thick coming fancies that keep her from rest. When did the doctor enter? He must have entered at the same time as Satan. We know that the doctor has to enter somewhere in there, obviously. Here Macbeth is asking for the impossible. Cure her of that. Canst thou not minister to a mind diseased? He knows what's wrong with his wife. She's gone crazy. It is, as was foretold, with the root of hemlock. They bit down hard on that which takes the reason prisoner. Pluck from the memory of rooted sorrow, having participated in one murder and having pushed her husband into a series of murders. Raise out the written troubles of the brain, and with some sweet oblivious antidote cleanse the stuffed bosom of that perilous stuff which weighs upon the heart. Therein the patient must minister to himself. There is nothing I can do. The patient has to do that herself. Then throw physics to the dogs. To hell with your medical advancements or whatever. To hell with you and your doctor. Throw physics to the dogs, all none of it. It's useless. Come, put mine armor on. So interesting. He had asked for his armor. I wonder if earlier, in between the first time he asked for his armor and this time, if he's getting them to take it off, or he's having trouble convincing Satan to put it on him. Give me my staff. Satan, send out. Satan leaves and he turns. Doctors, the fanes fly from me. Come, sir, dispatch. Satan, leave. If thou couldst, doctor, cast the water of my land, find her disease, and perch it to a sound in pristine health, I would applaud thee to the very echo that should applaud again. Pull it off, I say. So here we go. On, off. So as a director, give me mine armor. Someone starts to put it on, it bothers him, they take it off. try to put it on, they take it off. And then, so I would have it happening at least twice before we got to this point, because of course he asks again and again for his armor, and then pull it off, I say. He's not comfortable in any of his garments. Of course, he carries on with his asking the doctor to try what rhubarb, senna, or purgative drug would scour these English. Hence, hearest thou of them? So he can't cure his wife. What kind of cure do you have for the English? Do you hear about them? Ay, my good lord, your royal preparation makes us hear something. Bring it after me. Bring it on. I will not be afraid of death and bane till Burnham Forest come to Dunsinane. I'm not worried. Nothing can happen. Burnham Forest has to come here first. I will not be overthrown. And doctor, in an aside, were I from Dunsinane away and clear, profit again should hardly draw me here. I'm getting out of here. I'm leaving, and I'm not coming back. This place is too dangerous. It's probably even too dangerous to try to escape at this stage. Act 5, Scene 4. Now we meet Malcolm, Syward Macduff, and all of the other soldiers coming together in Dunsinane. Not Dunsinane, Burnham Wood. Cousins, I hope the days are near at hand that Chambers will be safe. We doubt it, nothing. What wood is this before us? The wood of Burnham. Let every soldier hew him down a bough and bear it before him. Thereby shall we shadow the numbers of our host and make discovery err in report of us. Here it is. How is it that Burnham Wood can uproot itself and move to Dunsinane? Simple. They cut down boughs, not just a branch, but, large branches of trees, so that it will in fact look like the forest is moving to Dunsinane. So Malcolm's battle strategy is how in fact Burnham Wood will get to Dunsinane. And the witches, the apparition didn't say how the woods would get there, didn't say that they would walk there themselves. All they said was that Burnham Wood do come to Dunsinane. And when you chop down a lot of the smaller trees and you hold that in front of you and you move, it literally looks like the forest is moving. And you bring half the forest with you. 10,000 soldiers, each one with a huge bough in front of him. Yeah, Burnham Wood do come to Dunsinane. It shall be done. We learn no other but the confident tyrant. He's confident, yet we saw him, back and forth, keep still in Dunsinane, and will endure our setting down before it. So he's not even trying to run. But that's because he has this prophecy that has him convinced that he's safe. 'Tis his main hope, for where there is advantage to be given, both more and less have given him the revolt, and none serve him but with constrained things whose hearts are absent too. Here we learn that, again, what was said before, none of his soldiers love him. They only serve him out of command, out of duty, or more likely, fear. And none of them serve him because they love him, respect him, want him as their king. One may also consider that they may just be mercenaries. Let our just censures attend the true event, and put we on industrious soldiership. So let's go and fight. The time approaches that will with due decision make us know what we shall say we have and what we owe. Thoughts speculative their unsure hopes relate, but certain issue strokes must arbitrate, towards which advance the war. So we need to move forward. We need to do and determine what is to be settled, sadly, by violence, and thus we must take our armies forward. So now Burnham Wood begins its march towards Dunsinane. All right, so I think that's long enough. I've got 4 scenes left. I will leave them for the next lecture. So I will get out of here and I will stop my recording. Macbeth, Act 5, Scenes 1 to 4.